Hi, welcome to my channel. So today I'm pretty excited because we finally hit 3,000 subscribers, and thank you to all of you for subscribing. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can get notifications every time I post videos. Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how to make authentic ramen with homemade udon noodles. It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you think. Would you make ramen at home, or will you still go to a restaurant? I highly doubt that, but anyway, let's get into it. First up, we're going to start with our noodles. I've got 200 grams of wheat flour, and to that I'm going to add a pinch of salt, about half a teaspoon of salt. The salt makes the noodle a lot more stretchier when you're trying to roll it out, and it gives it a nice chewier texture. Okay, so I'm adding room temperature water, about 110 mils, but I go by feeling at this point, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what your dough will look like once you've incorporated all your water, or what it's supposed to look like, or what you're supposed to look for in your dough. You could use instant noodles, you could use store-bought noodles, but I like fresh noodles a whole lot more for this type of dish, because I like my noodle to have a bit of bite to them, a little bit of texture to them, and you don't always get that like dried noodles, and fresh noodles are just a whole lot better for me. So what you're basically looking for right now, you can see that there's flour that hasn't been incorporated with any water. Eventually you want all the flour to look like that, like strands of flour and water. So we're going to keep adding a little bit more water up until we get the desired texture that we're looking for. Okay, so now as you can see, there's absolutely no loose flour at the bottom, and everything is it's still pretty dry, but it's all incorporated with the water now. And then you're going to go in with your hands and just bring it together. It's going to be a very firm dough, but that's exactly what you want. Okay, so I've incorporated all the water into my flour and I've mixed my dough, but you can still see a bit of flour when you pull it apart, which is fine. So I'm going to rest this for 15 minutes, cover it, and then knead it for about 5 minutes up until it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to rest it for another hour, and then we're going to get rolling. Okay, to get started with our chicken broth, I've got spring onion. This is probably the equivalent of 4 large spring onion, but these are from my garden and they're a bit small. I'm gonna add these into some hot oil. I've got a 3 centimeter piece of ginger that I've just sliced, and I've got 2 cloves of garlic that I've smashed. You don't need to bother with peeling them, they're absolutely fine. And I'm gonna fry all of this until it's nice and fragrant. Next up, I'm going to add some chili flakes. I do want this to be quite spicy, so you could use as low or as much as you like. Stir that in, and I'm not going to cook this for very long, just to get it incorporated. Smells wonderful. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of mirin. And then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, light soy sauce. And then to that I'm going to add a liter of chicken stock. So what I did was dissolve a stock tube into a liter of boiling hot water. I'll add that in. And then I'm gonna simmer this over medium heat. Just gonna add some dried shiitake mushrooms. You can leave them out if you can't find them, but I have them, so I'm adding them. And then I'm gonna simmer this for around 20 to 30 minutes over low to medium heat, and at the very end I'm gonna season it with some salt or a pinch of sugar if I feel it needs it. Okay, so next we're gonna prepare our protein. I'm using 1 chicken breast with the bone removed, and you could use 2. This recipe easily serves 2 people, but because I've got the egg and I've got the mushrooms, I don't really need a lot of meat. That's already enough protein. And I'm just gonna season that with some salt, add about half a teaspoon of light soy sauce, and then to this I've got about half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon each of Sichuan pepper, smoked paprika, and cayenne pepper. You can leave that out if you like, but I did say that I want mine to be quite spicy. Just gonna season that, and then we're gonna fry this very quickly because I want crunchy skin, and that's why I've left the skin on. You could remove it if you don't want extra fat. Okay, so we're gonna fry our chicken in a hot pan. Keep the skin down so it gets nice and crispy. Okay, so now we're gonna roll out our noodles. I've already got a pan of water on the stove. Okay, so udon noodles are pretty thick out of noodle, and that's basically the thickness that you're looking for. Now, just gonna brush it with some flour. Just make sure that they don't stick. And I want them to be pretty long, so I'm gonna go across like that because I do want them to be pretty long. And then just fold it once more to make it easier to cut. Make sure that you've got a nice amount of flour in there. I've made noodles a lot before, and sometimes I don't use enough flour and they stick, so don't repeat the same mistakes that I made. And then you're gonna cut them by hand. And there you have your homemade udon noodles. Now we're gonna boil these in some water for around 7 minutes. At the 2-minute mark of boiling our noodle, I'm gonna add in my egg because I want my egg to go for 5 minutes because I'm great at making a perfect boiled egg. So I'm going for 5 minutes on my egg, and then everything should be ready, and we'll assemble our bowl of ramen. Okay, so after cooking the noodles, I tossed them in some sesame oil, and they're still pretty hot. Whew. Just gonna go in with a single portion. Okay, and then I'm gonna put on my chicken. The skin is very nice and crispy. And some of those dried shiitake mushrooms. And then once we've got our radishes, I'm gonna go in. Sorry, once we've got our mushrooms in, I'm gonna go in with some radishes. You can. The greatest thing about ramen is that you can use whatever you want. And then I'm gonna go in with some spring onion for some greenery. And then we are gonna go in with our broth that we made earlier. And then we're gonna go in with our soft-boiled egg. And then finally, I'm gonna add a little bit sprinkling of some sesame seeds. And there you have it, homemade, authentic ramen with udon noodles, homemade udon noodles. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Please let me know what you think. Would you make it? Would you try it?